Alright guys, welcome back to another Opera Omnia video where we are back once again with another Who Should You BT Plus video. And in this video, we're going to be talking about both Jecht and Ardyn, who shall be receiving their BT Plus weapons. Now, for Jecht shall be receiving his rework, his LD weapon, and BT weapon. And Ardyn, he shall be receiving his rework and his BT Plus. But which one of these two characters are actually worth BT Plusing? If you have not been in the channel before, or if you have not watched any of my previous Who Should You BT Plus videos, in these videos, we cover their LDs and their BT/BT effects. We're also going to talk about their pros and cons about them, who they synergize with, what characters can actually help them out so that they can be as optimal as possible when you take them into Lufenia Plus fights. And of course, we shall be letting you guys know who we plan to BT Plus and why. Now, when I say why, once again, my friend Ardyn is going to be back and he's going to be helping me out with this video as he is Mr. Tactical himself. And he is going to be doing certain portions of the video just like I will be doing the same thing. And then towards the end, we shall let you guys know who we plan BT Plusing once the Shiva Divine event drops with these banners. So, if you guys do enjoy the video, consider liking the video and subscribing for future Opera Omnia content. If you do enjoy what Ardyn says during his parts of the video, please make sure to check out his channel as well. That link will be down in the description of this video and in a pinned comment. With that being said though, guys, let's go ahead and jump into it. Let's start off with Ardyn, followed by Jecht, and then we'll finish it off with who we plan to BT Plus. So we'll take a look at Ardyn's LD ability. Mainly the main thing that I want to focus on is going to be the buff that he grants after you use his LD ability, which is called Overkill. Now, Overkill grants him a max Brave Up and Attack Up. And as long as you have the buff active on Ardyn, he is unable to be incapacitated even when his HP is at 0, meaning that he basically becomes immortal as long as you have this buff active. Now, if by chance this buff gets removed or you let it expire or whatever, he does recover at least 1 HP so that way you have an opportunity to recover his HP. Now, from his LD boards, he does get a 20% HP damage up, a 20% brave damage up, and he does also extend the duration of granted buffs by 1 turn. Now, with his BT ability called Royal Retribution, with this BT effect, it's a stackable BT effect, and the way to increase the stacks, which has a max stacks of 3, it increases to every single time Ardyn breaks an enemy. Now, some players might not like that because you feel like you kind of like forced into trying to break an enemy, but with the many like call abilities that we have, with the many other units that we have that you could easily pair up with Ardyn, you can make it so that way Ardyn can reach his max stacks pretty easily. But we'll get into that once we go into the pros and cons of Ardyn. But with Ardyn's BT effect, he grants the party a max Brave Up and a Brave regen based on their max Brave. So if we take a look at his max stacks, he will be providing the party with a 50% max Brave Up and a 50% Brave regen based on your teammates' max Brave. Now, if you do decide to BT Plus Ardyn, at 2 out of 3, he does add a party HP damage up 20% and a 30% max Brave cap up, or you will be able to deal up to 129,998. So now we're going to look into the pros and cons with Ardyn, and we're also going to talk about some characters that do synergize well whenever you pair up Ardyn with other units on the team. Now, like I mentioned earlier, I do have Ardyn once again back for another Who Should You BT Plus, as I called him earlier in this video, Mr. Tactics. So of course we got to have him in here because, like, I have some brainage when it comes to DFFOO and everything like that, but when it comes to tactics and whatnot, he is definitely the man to go to. So welcome back, man.
Thank you for having me. I feel very honored to be called the Tactics Man. Sorry, Bard. I'm not like Final Fantasy Tactics, but I got big brain play sometimes.
Oh,
uh,
some might get that reference, some might not.
but for today, the subject will be Ardyn. As far as pros, we can start off with his pros. I feel like Ardyn is one of those DPS units that are very, very self-sustaining to some degree. He has the ability to battery himself through a lot of his HP dumps, and with his minor rework to his follow-up, he does battery himself fairly decently when he's going from his skill hits to his follow-up. Once he does go down to it, his BT effect, getting a BT plus, definitely helps him a lot more, and definitely helps the team a little bit more. He's always had the Brave Regen factor, but the Brave Regen factor now definitely kicks in fairly decently. And if you do pair him with other units that we'll be talking about later on, you'll see bigger refunds and you'll see bigger Brave gains according to his BT effect. His BT effect is the ramping effect. So it starts off at 1, but it does go from 1, 2, 3 according to how many breaks he gets. You do want to be able to break with him. Massively important with him. His EX has a unbreak and then re-break effect to it, so there is that is nice, and it does fulfill the BT effect requirement for that. Once his BT effect is active, you're going to be looking at a 10% when it's at 1 stack, a 30% when it's at 2 stacks, and a 50% max Brave Regen at 3 stacks. But it'll automatically come with the HP damage increase and the HP limit increase as well. So Ardyn has a lot going with him once he actually has his BT effect active. Because if he does break, he does get an additional turn, but you really don't have to worry about him taking a lot of turns, because the way Ardyn breaks in his kit, he only has one way of re-breaking or unbreaking and then re-breaking, which would be his EX. So ideally, you want to pair him, and this is going into the team synergy building, you want to pair him with units that lower initial Brave or max Brave, where they're always going to be breakable in some way, shape, or form. If you can roll him with Ornn is a brand new unit that just got, not really brand new unit, he's an older unit that just got a very massively loaded LD. And two of his debuffs, three ideally, three of his debuffs in his kit would be melee resist down, you have the initial Brave down and max Brave down with him. And if you can apply those three debuffs in general, you'll see a massive damage a massive damage output increase with Ardyn and Ornn working together. Another good teammate that works extremely well with him and that can take advantage of his BT effect are multi-turn users, or turn hoggers in this case. And a brand new unit that we just got, which would be Shulk. Shulk has good on-turn damage, turn manipulation according to when an enemy acts. So she will snag a turn after an enemy just goes. And on top of that, she does a lot of damage repeatedly. If you can actually roll through her overhead, and on top of that, dealing damage accordingly. Once she is working with Ardyn, you will see a large amount of bravery fun coming from Ardyn, and on top of that, really being able to deal a lot of damage as well. Another good teammate to work with him as well, as I stated earlier, when it does come down to it, any unit that can either unbreak or pretty much help with keeping the enemy's brave low enough or high enough, depending, because we have seen some fun stuff with initial brave and max brave debuffs here that you can pretty much take advantage of it. If you can keep a boss initial brave or max brave at 0, Ardyn will always break. So there is that. Don't shy away from another topic when it does come down to him. Brave gain up units work well with him extremely. Y'shtola, Agrias, Katesith, or especially Porum. Like any units that can ideally bring up, or it can definitely help him out with his brave gains, you'll get more value out of his BT effect overall. So Ardyn offers a lot to the team with his BT effect, but not just HP damage, but the Brave Regen as well, if you can actually stack very, very good Brave gains up along with the teammates as well.
With that being said, now we're going to switch over to Jecht, and we're going to take a look at his LD ability, his BT, and then, of course, I'll let Kaiden go ahead and speak about his pros and cons and who he synergizes with. Now we'll take a look into Jecht's LD ability called Triumphant Grasp. Now with this LD ability, once you have it fully realized and you have given him his character boards, it becomes a 4-hit fire AoE Brave plus a group HP attack with 4 HP dumps in total, and it does deal split HP damage to all targets. Now it does grant him a new buff called I'll Think of Something that lasts for 16 turns. Now with this buff, it's going to help him out a lot with not just his LD ability, but also for his overall kit, because it grants him a 60% attack up, a 20% HP damage up. He does retain 30% of the Brave whenever he uses any HP attacks, meaning that if you use any of his abilities, he will not be at 0 Brave. He will be at 30% of the HP damage that you have dealt to the enemy. Now, he does grant a fire enchant 20%, and he does lower the fire resistance of targets whenever attacking. And when he is dealing weakness damage, he does get a 30% stolen Brave damage up. Now, with this BT weapon called Blitz King, the BT effect that you get out of it is that the party gets a 30% attack up, a 20% Brave damage cap up, a 50% Brave damage up, and a Brave regen based on 20% of your own max Brave, meaning like your teammates' own max Brave, and of course Jecht's own max Brave. Now, whenever you are attacking or your teammates are attacking a broken target, you do also get a 10% Brave damage cap up, so it'll be a total of 30% instead of the 20% as long as the target is broken, and a extra 50% Brave damage up, being a total of a 100% Brave damage up as long as the target is broken. Now, if you do decide to BT plus Jecht's BT weapon, he does add a 30% attack up, meaning it will be a total of a 60% attack up for the party. And for the Brave regen, he does add a 20% to the original 20%. So now it'll be a 40% Brave regen based on your own max Brave.
For Jecht, I did like that he did get a rework. Thank God, he needed it. His skill 1 definitely has the biggest portion I enjoy the most, because his skill 1 unbreaks, and then you can actually re-break with the skill 1, which is nice. He does have a force break. His skill 2 definitely got a massive overhaul, but how many HP dumps added to that? Jesus. There is no chill with Jecht. His EX his EX is still the exact same way, so it really didn't get much of a change there. But overall, his LD though did give him a lot, being able to fire enchant and being able to force break as well. So that's nice. When it does come down to Jecht, I feel like his LD will serve him extremely well. And for those who are looking at Jecht, if you do snag his LD, that LD does add a lot to him. So you'll be very surprised. You'll be pleasantly surprised with the damage output that comes along with him. His BT effect, however, is like, oof. I enjoy his BT effect, but at the exact same time, I know that we'll talk about the pros and cons. The pros of Jecht is that you'll definitely see a lot of Brave damage coming from him. He has a fairly decent attack increase for the team when his BT effect is active. I believe it's 80%. When it does come down to his Brave damage, it's 50% if you're not hitting your broken target, and it's 100% if you are hitting your broken target. So he is very good for Brave damage for the team. He also has a increase in Brave damage cap as well. So Jecht's BT effect is leaning more towards the Brave damage side, so that way your team is able to deal those bigger numbers. And Jecht's pretty much known for being that #1 ace damage dealer. So when it does come down to him, he lives up to his name of Blitz King Ace. So there's that. But I feel like when it does come down to him, Ardyn does have a lot of pros. He's able to break delay fairly decent, and if you team him up with Vayne, if you team him up with Vayne and Vayne's BT effect is active, you will see a lot of damage coming from not only just Vayne, from Jecht as well. With those two are working together, you can definitely bring Ornn to come along with that team comp as well. Ornn just goes hand in hand with Jecht, just like any other. And if you can definitely handle melee resist down, you'll definitely see a lot of damage coming from him. Jecht does have fire damage in his kit, so please pay attention to that. When it does come down to Jecht, I would definitely think that putting him with a unit that can imperil fire will definitely help him out. He does imperil his own element, which is nice, but if you can get a frame imperil, that'll actually help him out a little bit more than anything else. So if you do run him with twins, you'll most likely see that help him out a little bit more. But as far as like other units that have synergized well with him, you really don't have to worry about too much when it comes down to his damage output. But keeping him batteried is going to be pretty important because he has a lot of HP dumps in his kit. I cannot stress this enough. He has a lot. So units like Kate will actually help him out a whole lot, just because they'll be able to seal him up even more while he's doing his brave hits, because he has a lot of brave hits into HP hits. Another unit that can really synergize with him well is, again, cannot stress this enough, Yestola and Porum, just because they battery very, very hard. And on top of that, if you do have Yestola, her Brave Gain Up BT effect will definitely help him out a lot, especially while he's going to be dropping HP dumps like nothing. However, we can talk about his pros, so we can talk about his cons. One of Jecht's cons for me, when I look at Jecht as a unit, is that because of how much damage he deals, and because he gets free turns after a lot of breaks, he'll be acting back-to-back. Back-to-back breaking isn't bad for him, but at the exact same time, you have to pace him. And Jecht, again, I've said it earlier, he has no chill. When Jecht gets a hold of something, Jecht hits hard. He hits extremely hard. But because he's hitting so hard, if you don't have a way to keep him batteried, you will feel the brave damage or the brave gain reductions with him. So you will definitely need to bring a unit that can help him out with that. Hence the reason why I recommended Yestola, Porum, Agrius, or even Kateseth. It's not a lot of times that you have to worry about him because he's very, very heavy hitting on his own. But when it does come down to it, because he is locked or because he is a fire damage dealer, if there is a fight that does absorb fire, you're gonna probably have to switch things up with him. There's not a lot of fights that absorb fire, mind you. Keep that in mind. There's not a lot of fights that do that. But when it does come down to it, Jecht can definitely deal damage and deal damage extremely hard. I would just try to keep that in mind, that if you're going to be rolling with him, and as a lot of people who played 10 know, he's very, very good at being the champion, but he's not going to be able to do that just all on his own. It's always a team that's going to, it's a team game when you play football. So, like when it, as he says that he's his own team, Ornn's right there with him, and soon enough, Brask in the future. Hint, hint, wink, wink. But for now, I definitely want to sit there and say, I feel like Jecht definitely provides everything in his kit really, really well. But in order to really get him, or to bring more value out of him, bringing a defense down would help him out more than anything else. And because we are on his cons, a lot of his hits are single target with splash. He does have AoE into his kit somewhat, especially with his LD and with his EX, and now with his rework on skill 2. He does have splash in his kit. But if you're going to be bringing Jecht, please realize that Jecht will be pretty much wailing on one target. And you're probably going to have to make sure that as long as he's wailing on that one target, whichever one he has his hands on, he will pretty much wreck it. But if you're looking for like real fast, or if you're looking for like AoE damage, I would definitely go with somebody a little bit more AoE heavy in comparison. But Jecht does have splash. That's not to take away from it, but Jecht is mostly single target. Do with that as you will in that situation.
Now, with all that being said, now we are going to be talking about who we plan to BT plus once the banners drop alongside with the Shiva Divine event. So now we're gonna let you guys know who we plan to BT plus to end off this video off, and I guess I'll go first because I think I went second last time. I can't remember. Okay. So in JP, I think those who have been around my channel for like the past year know that with the Shiva Divine fight, I struggled. It was painful, that 1 week of painful runs, and it's only because like I just didn't have the correct units at the time, and I had to make do with what I had. But because I didn't pull and I did not have Jecht BT nor Ardyn BT, I have the option to choose either or. But because I want to be able to experience a Jecht, and because there's a possibility I might be doing a playthrough here soon for Final Fantasy X, I am actually going to chase after Jecht LD and BT, and if I do have the books and whatnot, I will go ahead and BT plus Jecht, only because since I decided to green the twins over Garland, and Garland does provide some increase and in a whole bunch of stats, but like the one key thing is the brave damage up, and Jecht like has the same percentage, but if we're attacking a broken target, it's even higher than that. I want to make sure that I not only have a solid DPS character, but at the same time a DPS character that's going to provide me with that brave damage up, because if I'm not mistaken, so far with the BT units that I have on my global account, I don't believe any of my units has an increase in brave damage up, but I could be wrong on that. I think the twins do, maybe, I don't know. So because of that, I want to make sure that I kind of cover that section of my units in terms of like the BT effect and like the stats that the whole party is going to receive, and go with Jecht and BT plusing him.
Good call. Good call.
What about you?
For myself, I think, and this is again not me being biased towards 15 or anything, definitely not an Ardyn sim. I definitely didn't, use that many gems to pull for his BT and LD when it showed up. But I think, for me personally, because of the team comps that I run, I think I can actually use Ardyn and actually green him. Now, I already know that there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be like, green Ardyn isn't that great, and it's like, I'm a hardcore fan of Ardyn, so yes, I'm going with bias for me, but at the exact same time, I do agree when it does come down to Jecht. Jecht has a lot of brave damage built into his kit, as we talked about in his pros and cons earlier. Jecht does a lot of damage real fast, and if you want to see big brave hit numbers, Jecht is the man for that. But for me, because I don't have any HP damage increase BTs, because I have a few greens, and Ace is has been my MVP for the most part. Ace is that stat up unit that I do have, and I do have Vayne, so I definitely would like to be able to run a couple of them together. But I think I definitely can say for sure Ardyn is going to get my green. Nobody really needs to green the BTs this month, but I can definitely say for sure that when it does come down to it, both of these BT effects, they are very, very good if you can put them in the right team comp. You have to make them work. They work in a very, very they work in a good fashion, but
exactly.
You can make any unit work, but these two in particular, these two definitely roll real hard, and if you're fans of them, you will get something out of them. They are very, very strong units.
Yeah, because like on my JP account, I only had his LD for Jecht, and yeah, I only had his LD for Jecht, and so like, but I still somehow made him work even through the times that he was a synergy for his 2-week events that dropped for him. So. If per se like you struggle with getting the BT, or if you're gonna wait for the BT in case some free multis come up if they announce it with the upcoming community live stream, then don't feel too bad, because like I made Jecht with his LD working in Shiva Divine if you're concerned about that fight. So it's no biggie there, of course. So.
Definitely looking forward to seeing everybody with Shiva Divine, and I wish everybody the best of luck with her, because I have seen horror stories. And our buddy lost, Lord rest his soul. He went a whole week of rage, and I was around for that. Now it's just like, oof. Lost buddy, just take a second, calm down, we got this. I couldn't help him then, but I'm going to help him this time around.
I can't do it myself. Thank you very much.
But I'm Mr. Tactic.
If for those who have not watched my Shiva run, I will put that link down in the description below so you can see my pain and suffering, and the team comp that I use, which is like a very limit budget type of team comp. Let's just say that. But you know what? I still made it work, and I'm happy about it. So, GG. Yeah.
Well, needless to say, he's free to play, by the way.
Sure, why not?
Oh,
so,
boy.
With that being said, though, guys, do let us know down in the comment section below who you plan on BT plusing, or if you're actually going to hold off and wait for a future pair of BT plus characters to arrive. Do let us know down in the comment section below. But with that being said, if you guys did enjoy the video, consider liking the video and subscribing for future Upper Omnia content. Make sure to check out Kaiden's channel. That will be down in the description and in a pinned comment on this video. And with that being said, that's going to be it.
Thank you guys for having me, and thank you, Lance, for having me again. Can't thank you enough for letting me come back and cause chaos on your channel. Don't worry, I'm not going to spread sensation or stigma or anything, but I'll see you guys in 3 weeks. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, 3 weeks?
3 weeks? Yeah, somewhere around there.
With Maria, the people say it's her lost chapter, but it's still mine.
Oh, that'll be for another video.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyways, though, guys, take care, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Later.